welcome back, or welcome if you've not been before. This is a tarot reading. As you can see, we've got loads and loads and loads to look at again today. I'm really excited about this. I don't know what we're going to get through and what we're not going to get through. You'll know more about what's in this, as I always say, because it'll be in the title. By the way, I burnt my hand the other day on the cooker. Cooking is dangerous, people, dangerous. Right, so all of a sudden Trump is everywhere again in the news. People, the media are really slamming on him. So I wanted to know whether this is a white hat up, or these media types are really just genuinely still black hats. I mean, is there that many left? That's definitely one thing I want to look at. There was also an announcement that there'll be like an internet and communication blackout as well. I wanted to look at that. There's also been a lot going on about, there's a lot of these like extremist Christians, like Girls Defined, and I think her name's Ruby Franke, was arrested in connection with abusing her kids. Now she runs something, I think it's called Connections or something, but I think she had a YouTube channel on her own that was all about like Christian fundamentalism and bringing up kids. I wanted to have a quick look at that, but I do want to look at JK Rowling, because it's been bugging me for a long time about JK Rowling. I didn't particularly like or dislike her personally at first. Obviously things have developed a lot since she brought the books out, but a lot of people were saying she was really bad, and then she started to say all this weird shit, and I just thought, wow, you know, was she a black hat? Because she got pretty big and the films did reach Hollywood, so I mean, was she always a black hat, or did they just leap on it? I don't know. Anyway, and I've also been asked a question about Johnny and Amber as well. Yeah, the Depp and Heard thing. I was asked a question about the violence that occurred between them and who started it, because it was pointed out that he met her on that film, didn't he, the Rum Diaries. Now, I've not seen the Rum Diaries, but I'm not sure the character he played was a good person from what I'm understanding. I could be wrong about that. We'll have a look at that in a minute. I also wanted to have a look at the Barbie movie, but I don't think we'll get anywhere near that. So let's start off with this Trump. What's going on? Why is he in the media all of a sudden? I know it's just coming up for the election for you over there next year, isn't it? But is this like a white hat up to show how ridiculous the media is? Or is this is still a black hat up? Are these people in the media, are they still, do they still not know what's going on? Okay, I get this is not a cut and dry answer either. It never is it, in this world? I get that these people who are writing the articles have made a deal. They're going to carry on, but what I'm getting is the messages they're putting out are what they're told to put out. Like, I don't think word for word, but just generally. I get as well that the white hats have seen, okay, I'm getting quite a lot. The white hats have seen how effective this is, and how doing it in the extreme form, which they are doing now. I mean, they're calling him a psycho and everything else, but they're doing all of that is really opening people's eyes, and a lot of people's eyes who may not have been opened before. But also it's about exposing them as well. They may not get the punishment they would have done, but they're being exposed obviously they won't be working in the media after this anyway, but there's going to be a lot more shame in that as well. But it's also, at the same time, it's also helping the cause to open people's eyes. I would say from that, I don't know whether I was just, obviously those cards threw themselves out. I was going to do a full reading on it, but I don't know if there's any point. I think that has explained that to me quite concisely. If you want me to delve more into that, sorry, and it's important because of the election coming up. Yeah, that's why it came to me. Okay, if you want to know more, just leave me a comment or ask a question, and we'll look more into it. Right, what about this? Now, I read this on Twitter somewhere, and it was about a week or so ago, so I think we've heard this so many times now. I think I certainly have just given up, but this kind of tweaked the hope again that there was going to be like some kind of finale that we can actually see. That it was that Donald Trump had put out a message about looking out for the storm or something. I know he said that right at the beginning, didn't he? When he got in office, or just before he got in office. But there's supposed to be some kind of an indication that there's going to be 10 days of communication blackout, which means no internet, no internet, no TV, no phone calls of any kind, etc, etc. So obviously the banks would go down, although apparently you'll still be able to dial 999 and the hospitals and stuff will still be working anyway. So let's have a look if this is true, because it was a few days ago that I saw this, and obviously nothing's happened since, but that doesn't mean it won't happen now. So that'd be quite good, wouldn't it, that kind of bringing that out and getting it all out in the open. Is this going to happen? Is this likely to occur at all? Okay, it's not a complete and utter fallacy. It was, or possibly still is, an option, although it seems less likely now. This came around about from a genuine possibility that this could happen. It was planned. I'm getting that it's not, okay, it's not been completely ruled out. There's a possibility there, but I'm getting from Spirit that it's less likely than more likely. It was put out there as a warning, but also a threat to whatever black hats are left. You're going to get exposed. Do you know, I get what a lot of these are, is like, it's, okay, well you've got this threat, but we at the end of the day, we can expose you, and we have more people and resources right now than you do. You can still cause damage, but if you do, we'll take you down. And I get that's what a lot of this is. It's like that song, I posted it on my Twitter, We Are the 99%. It was fantastic, I loved it. It's not, from Spirit's point of view, it's less likely than more likely, although it's still there. They see these remaining black hats capitulating, or not wanting to risk that at least. Because obviously if there's a media blackout, a communication blackout, it's going to have to be explained why. So unfortunately, I'm not seeing a big event. I'm not seeing a full stop here. I'm not seeing a big expose. Once again, and I suppose, I mean, whatever I've got before is it's the sensible option. It's not the option that I want. but it's a sensible option, and I do get that throwing a lot of a majority of the asleep world population into fear is not going to help with this awakening at all. We need the energies as high as possible. Yeah. Right. I do want to have a quick look about, because it's so confusing. It seems like there's a lot of famous YouTubers, well-known YouTubers, doing exposés on a lot of these Christian fundamentalists. I've only got two written down here. It's the Girls Defined. You've probably heard of. There's two Christian extremist sisters, and they're advocating, you know, purity culture, is it called, and no sex before marriage, and women should be married and stay at home and have children, even though they're obviously clearly working. But there's this Ruby Franke as well, who did loads of video about how to bring your kids up, and then she was obviously abusing, I say obviously abusing her kids, because allegedly, she's just been arrested for like duct taping her kids and leaving them like malnourished and locking them in the cellar or whatever. Anyway, you can find out enough about her just by looking for her. But it seems like a lot of these Christian fundamentalists are like espousing Trump and the wall, and now I'm confused as to whether these are black hats put out there to discredit Trump, or whether these are people who are genuinely like this, and have just taken a different view of what's going on with Trump. Or, I don't know, let's have a look. Let's just ask the question, who are these? Just generally though, I know maybe people have different stories. I'm not saying they're all lumped together, but generally, why is this happening right now? Is it to kind of expose Christianity? Oh, okay. Another complicated answer. Okay. Now, I'm not seeing the black hats in this past line or this present line or this best course of action line. I'm not seeing the black hats. Obviously, they're here in the outcome. I get that a lot of the organisations that these people have come from are not necessarily, well, yeah, they are black hats, aren't they? A lot of them are like cults, and, well, religion, isn't it? I don't know. I'm not saying anybody shouldn't be religious if they want to be religious. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being a Christian. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being any religion. But a lot of these extremists were set up by cult leaders who had the express purpose of manipulating people and making money. And a lot of what they espouse is based on black hat principles about oppression and control and domination and guilt and fear. So I get that what they're saying is it's not they're not plants. These people are real people doing real things, but they're coming out now because their systems are falling apart, the systems that they belong to. And I get that there's a choice to expose them as well. I get that there was a choice to expose them. I don't believe this is an operation. Or if it is, it's a little sideline. I get it's more to do with just the right timing And like the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, kind of, well, they opened a kind of floodgate, didn't they? But this is just another brick in the wall, isn't it, if you like? But it's not a black hat up, it's not a white hat up. If it is any kind of white hat up, the exposing of these people, it just seems to be more perfect timing. But the basis of these extremist religions, it is being exposed for what it is. Like I say, I've got nothing against anybody believing anything that they want to believe at all. But I do get that it's all helping slowly, bit by bit, drip by drip, drop by drop, helping to expose the black hats' involvement in the formation of certain religions. Not all. I do want to say not all, but obviously the black hats are involved in a lot of formation of religion. That doesn't mean that all people in that religion are bad, or people can't gain something good from that religion, but the basis of that religion is not good. For example, sin and hell, the idea of sin and hell. It's all meant to cause fear, isn't it? Wow, that was so interesting. I'm so glad I know that, because I was so confused about this whole thing. Kind of like it seems to be everywhere. Like, why are all these people just suddenly getting exposed? Right, I'm going to answer now, before we do JK Rowling, because I do want to look at her, because this has been bugging me for a long time. I do want to look at this thing. We'll do a relationship spread for Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and this is about the violence between them. Now obviously we get a picture or a belief from the court case that she was violent. We can't, I'm not ruling out the fact that he could have been violent as well, or I'm not ruling that out. I don't believe there was any evidence of that in the trial, but I get from this, it was what they keep saying to me, it was what people generally refer to as a passionate relationship. What that means to me is that it doesn't rule out violence, but it's more to do with the upheaval and the conflict that causes, I don't know, what is it, adrenaline rush people get addicted to. I'm actually not seeing Johnny be violent in this relationship. He may not have been completely honest, and he may have had situations in the past that were, we know what the black hats do, and we've heard some of the things that he suggested that he's done, not necessarily in relationships though. I get that he was already on the edge of a precipice anyway, but I always got that this was more to do with healing with him because of his experience of abuse inflicted upon him in his early life. In answer to the question, the conflict was both ways. You can see that that's going both ways. And it does seem to be as equally on both sides. I get that from Johnny's side, this was more likely to be a little bit of pushing and shoving, which doesn't really excuse it, does it? Especially not if she's coming at him anyway. And I do get the fact that she was more the aggressor, not just from the court case, but and the injuries that he sustained, but from her aura, from her personality. Pushing and shoving still is violence at the end of the day, unless it's self-defence. I'm no lawyer, that's my personal opinion. They both were at fault when they got together. Whoever instigated the initial violence, there was a big lead up of aggression prior to that, is what I'm getting. And I don't think it can be, I think what they're getting at is it can't really be pinpointed at who was to blame. There was issues on Johnny's side as well as on Amber's. I think we saw that in the videos. He was clearly going through some stuff. Not surprisingly, really. But I get that it wasn't a single event. It was a lead up of aggression which started out verbally and emotionally. And I'm not getting that anyone is more to blame than anybody else. Yes, it's in Amber's nature, but Johnny wasn't completely innocent and either. Well, we're getting some really complicated answers today. They can't give me a straightforward one, can they? Right, I just want to, before we go, have a quick look at JK Rowling. And I guess my real question is, what I really want to know about JK Rowling was she like a genuine person, or did she grow up a black cat? Was she a plant? Was this a black cat op? Or did she write the books and then get dragged into it? Or, very, very unlikely as far as I'm concerned, although it is a possibility, is she just like completely innocent in all of this? I don't believe that for 1 second. But it's possible. I'm not closing my mind. Let's have a look. JK Rowling. Wow, that is interesting already. That is very, very interesting already. The only black cats in here and the outcome. We know they swooped in here at the end. However, I do want to say, look at this. This is issues going on, and lies and deceit and struggle and fight in the past position. I would suggest that she grew up in a black cat family, or that she was affected somehow by what the black cats have done. I understood that her family were quite wealthy, her mother and father. I'm not absolutely sure on that. I'm not a huge fan, like I said, I don't follow the woman. But they obviously swooped in at the end. And this is black hat, not white hat. I'm not getting any white hats in here. They swooped in here. But then I didn't ask that question, did I? I get that in many ways she was following a path that was laid out for her. But that doesn't mean that what she wrote was... Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's go back from the beginning. She grew up or had experience or had contact with the black cats, I would say, before the books were even written, or during the very early stages. She did write the books. She did genuinely write the books, and they did come from a place of love and from emotion and from a really beautiful space. It's probably why people connect with them. However, they were, I can't say the word they've just said to me, they were turned into something that they weren't originally. They were, the books before they were put out were manipulated, which she wasn't happy about, but she had no choice. Well, she did have a choice, but she decided that she wanted the books out there and she wanted the money anyway, and she wanted the films, so she went with that. And I get that the original, wow, this is so complicated as well, isn't it? The original stories were written with love, or from creativity, or were not channeled so much. Then, yes, the camera cut out then, and I lost the last little bit of that reading. I was just about to wrap up and say that I wanted to look at what's going on with her now. Has she been processed? Is she being processed? All this stuff that she's putting out as well. Is this really her, or is she being told to say this? Let's have a look. Right, certainly from what I'm getting here is that she did the stuff. She did the stuff with the, she didn't want to, but she did the stuff. I get now that she is facing the consequences of her actions. Let's put it like that, shall we? She's facing the consequences of her actions. I'm not seeing any kind of deal in here. I get that she's probably too involved to be able to make any deal. That's the impression I'm getting from this. She's too involved. I'm getting that currently she is awaiting being processed, if you like, being processed. She's aware of that, what that means, and it's going to happen, and the white hats are absolutely in charge of that. In many ways, apart from the fear that she's in, you can see these contradictory cards here. Apart from the fear that she's in, she's quite glad that what she went through is ending. And she does understand that that's for the best in some part of her soul, if not in her conscious being. But she is going to be processed. But we know that she did do the stuff. She did do the stuff with the black hats do, with the thing with the adrena and the thing with the chrome. That's what it's telling me here. And that she will be processed. Wow, that was so very, very fascinating. Thank you so much for joining me, lovely people. That was so much fun. If there's anything you want me to look at or any questions you have, please leave in the comments below. Or if you have anything at all you want to say, please do subscribe, like, share. Like, share, subscribe, comment, do the YouTubey things. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope to see you in another video. Bye.